How
things are going today?
Oh,
I mean, today, this period.
good. Yeah, I think fine.
You think fine?
Yeah. Watching the other situation, yes, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Are you at home now? You're not going to work anymore.
No, I'm in smart working, and we have I don't know 200 conference per day. I'm joking, but something like that.
Yes, but did you had to teach to your colleague how to join conference calls, or they are all used to do it?
No, they all use the conference. We have now we are working especially on Teams by Microsoft. And
yes, I saw it. That if I cannot use it because you have to do. I mean, everybody's got to have the team.
Yeah.
And if you are not part of an organization or a school, it costs quite a lot.
Yeah, but now it's free for 1 year.
Yes, I know,
I
but
think.
the problem is to let. Yeah, tell me.
Tell me.
No, the problem is to let people use it. People that sometimes they don't know how even to use a smartphone or other things. So it's quite difficult to get them involved in a system that is, you know, a bit limited, because you have to get, I think, a Microsoft account or a Google account.
Yeah, now is better because they have opened a bit the system. So
yeah, my only fear is that I cannot just include everybody. And with this system that I found, that I've tried, is very easy. This is very easy, very convenient. Today I had even some, you know, one-to-one conversation. They are endless. You can just go for all the time that you need. The only thing is that if you got a group of 3 or more people, then the conversation has to last for 40 minutes, not more. And then you have to close it and then open again a new room. But that's fine, that's fine. I mean, and this free of charge. If I upgraded it, I can have endless, let's say, yes, endless time and many other features. But actually, it's not so expensive because it's approximately 140 euro per year. But I want to test it before paying any money in this moment.
I think it's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to just test if it would be suitable. I was listening that Marta was coming in, but I don't see her. No, she is in.
Like, before I couldn't hear you. I also wrote to you that I couldn't hear you for some reason, but now I can hear you. So I don't know what happened, but I'm here.
You seem to be a non-video participant that probably when you were opening the system, you should say yes to all the things that one of the questions they have made to you. It could probably, you have to say yes to the use of your camera, of your webcam. And probably you just answer no.
Actually, I said yes, so I don't know. But is it okay if I just speak? or you prefer that I turn on the camera?
If you, it's up to you. I mean, Marta, that's okay. I think it's even better because in this case, as you are under 18, we can even put our conversation on the web in this case, because otherwise we can't because you are under 18. So it's better, maybe it's even better.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, it's even better that we just listen to your voice. That is your strength. Okay, so Marta, would you start to tell us something that were you preparing something to tell to us?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah. I wanted to speak you about something that I really like, that is horror literature. So basically, it's like one of the it's not really an old genre, but it's not even like a super new
can you please, before you go on, can you please repeat, like, let's say the title of what kind of literature are you speaking about?
I'm speaking about horror literature.
Horror literature. Very good. Interesting. Okay.
So, I was saying it isn't really an old genre, but it isn't even really like new, because horror literature started with Edgar Allan Poe in the oh my God, in the 19th century, and after Edgar Allan Poe, like the first like big writer person like that wrote about horror literature was Lovecraft, and these two writers have a lot in common. Like they both wrote short stories. Like some of them aren't really short, but they mostly wrote short stories. Like all the way that they can make the suspense is really similar. Also, the topics are kind of similar, but the main difference is that Edgar Allan Poe, yeah, he speaks about paranormal stuff, but Lovecraft focuses more on like stuff like myths and stuff like that. Then after them, kind of modern horror literature came in because like Lovecraft stopped to write like in the first or the second decade of the 20th century. I can't remember, but like after them, after that, also horror films were invented. Because some of the first films that were filmed were like Dracula and Frankenstein.
Do you remember any of the actors that they were acting in these films? I mean, the very old ones.
No, I honestly don't.
Because there were some actors that they became like cult actor, very famous for that interpretation, like Bela Lugosi. Do you know, Matteo, about Bela Lugosi? If you, yeah, it was a very well-known actor at that time, started with silent movie. Because what Marta say, the horror movie was starting when the movies were they were silent movie. They weren't with speaking actors yet, but they had this horror movie as well. Let's go on, Marta, if you want to finish this. Sorry about that.
And then after that, we basically like come to the modern horror literature. Obviously, the most important horror author of this time is Stephen King, who is an author who became very famous during the 80s, I think. And like most of the stuff, well, that we see today, like in fiction, is in some way influenced by him. And
Okay.
yeah, basically that. And,
That's very interesting. Thank you. Yeah. What about, yeah, Matteo, what about your, what do you think about horror culture, horror literature, and movies as well?
Well, actually, I don't like very well that, but I think it's just a little. It's anxiety for me.
Anxiety is giving you
Anxiety. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if you
Uh,
watch a horror film before going to bed, then you have nightmares or something like that because it's getting you
Well,
anxiously. Yeah.
well, I'm enough rational to understand that, but
Yes, but
but
this is
it's
nothing to
an
do with.
unconscious
Yeah, that's it.
sensation.
That's it. It's something that you cannot really control. You are not control. Maybe that is even the success of horror because it's giving us such a strong emotions that we are not always they are not everything under control. So something that is really just shaking us so much. And I think that is one of the most important
Yeah,
feature of the horror.
probably is the strength and the weakness of that.
Yeah. What do you think, Marta, are the reason of the success of this kind of literature and then, of course, of film and cinema?
I think that in the very beginning, like during the 19th century, it had a lot of success because, sorry, because it was a very particular like time because people were really fascinated with scary stuff, ghosts, and sickness in general. So I think that the fact that horror can literally get you is the main reason why it became so popular, and also because it's like being on a roller coaster because you know that you can't die, you aren't in danger, but at the same time you feel like you are in danger. So it's a really good sensation. Also because most horror stories have an happy ending, so you wait
It's
for
true.
that happy ending.
It's true. Yes, it's true because you have to just do something like free yourself from the anxiety, and that's the end of it. I want to show you something, by the way, that is this one. Probably Martha will like it. Can you see? LifeWire. That is a site where you can take some podcasts. So these are the 17 best horror podcasts of 2020. And that's interesting. It was just issued in January, so it's quite recent. And so there are music podcasts and audio. These are podcasts with, and there are 17, I think that this is very interesting. I'm going to send you, so this is the link, but I'm going to send you the link directly so you can see it. Anyway, it's LifeWire and Best Horror Podcast, where you can download, I think, and listen to this podcast. I think they are very interesting. That's very interesting. you know, something that is very creeping, and then you have professional voice acting. So I think that is a good way of spending your free time if you are fond of this genre. What do you think, Marta? Did you know it?
I didn't know about that site in particular, but I think that it will be very interesting to listen to some of that podcast.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, the podcast is allowing you to get on with your fantasy and so
Yeah.
see, yeah, and probably our fantasy is even more dangerous than the reality one and a film, because in a film, you know, sometimes what I do when I'm watching a horror movie, I do something else. For example, I'm playing with my smartphone, because in this way I say, okay, this is not true, this is far away from me. I'm here with my smartphone, and then I just give a glimpse to the film, because in this way I'm never too involved in it. But I know that I'm quite a rabbit one. Yeah.
But you know, if you are reading a book, you can do it, and that's why I prefer to read a book
Yeah,
or even to listen to podcasts, because it's something that I really do like.
this is completely true. You know, I remember when I was many years ago, and I was in Milan that period, because I wasn't a teacher yet, and I was doing a fair, a tourist fair. So I was reading The Silence of the Lambs. That wasn't
Oh,
in
no.
film, yeah, wasn't in film yet. Was a very so many years ago, and I remember that I was going to the hotel or to the place where I was going, because I was reading the book in a tram or on a bus going home, but it wasn't my home, so I had to stay in very dark places that I didn't know a lot, because I was a guest there. So I was running to my room after, and I remember that
Oh, no.
yeah, I remember that that book was really, really scaring me. And of course, even the film was scary. But the book was really, wow, out of this world. Really, really.
But
Okay.
which is the limit for the horror?
What do you mean by limit?
No, I don't know. A personal limit about that.
Huh, huh. That is, I don't know, actually. I don't like too much splatting, you know, blood
Okay.
and blood. But, you know,
Like,
horror, old horror was different. Now I think that are, I don't know so many films about, for example, Stephen King's. I don't know them very well. I remember Amityville Horror or Nightmare. I was watching in, you know, the first Nightmare. That was really scary. Or, but for example, if you watch now an old film like Profondo Rosso, it doesn't scare you a lot anymore. I mean, the atmosphere, the rhythm, or maybe the special effects that weren't so fantastic. You see, you know, how they've been made. So they're not scaring you so much. I don't know. It depends even on how you are in that moment. Because probably
yeah.
if you are more delicate, you know, or you are more nervous, so something can scare you more. What do you think,
Have you?
Marta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, tell me, Matteo.
I
Just another question.
Yes.
Have you a favorite subject?
Am I?
Have you a favorite subject
You mean besides horror?
related to horror? Yeah.
Maybe the psychological
Oh, okay.
horror, like Psycho. for
Yeah.
example, that is not horror, is more thriller, or The Silence of the Lambs. But even Shining is, I mean, is sometimes some people they say it's an horror, but it's not. I prefer thriller to horror. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you, Martha?
Like for me, like I like both thriller and horror. I don't have a specific preference. And like about what you were talking, and like the thing that we were talking about before, I agree with you in like with the fact that too much splatter isn't really necessary, because like I think that most horror writers, like some of them, do that because they don't know how to scare people. Because like
that's it.
if you
It's
read,
easy.
Yeah, because it's really easy, and like for me it has no effect at all. Like it's boring, it's just disgusting and boring. Like why do we have to do that?
Yeah, okay.
But like in like some books, like in Shining, like nothing is happening, but you are totally terrorized.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
And, but I think that the only book where there were also like splatter parts that but were really well made, like I think it was Misery, also by Stephen King.
Yeah,
that there are some parts that are really like strong, but Stephen King is such a good writer that even that even that parts are good. Like they honestly scare you.
Yeah. I agree.
I have another question.
Yeah. Go.
Well, what do you think about the possibility that this kind of film could be a suggestion for someone?
You mean to act with crimes?
Not only, but yes.
What I think about that is that if a person wants to commit a crime, will do that even without seeing an horror movie, honestly.
And if you don't want,
Like,
there are no horror movie valid to influence yourself, actually.
Yeah.
They could probably give ideas on how to do it, but just if you are actually planning to do it. So I'm looking for some ideas. You're watching a horror movie like you were just reading an encyclopedia. So to get ideas. But now it's enough that you get on the internet and you get so many hints. If you want some good idea. So I don't think I don't think we can give the fault to books or films or even games. I think that the problem is inside the human beings' minds. So I think that is more easier. That's anyway was interesting. Was a very interesting thing. Now if you let me do it, because I think that in approximately 10 minutes they are going to cut off this. I don't know, because if the limit is from 4 people onward that they're cutting, but anyway, they give me an advice. So I'd like to share the screen to do something else, if you allow me.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see it?
No. Okay, yes, I can.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, even to try all the means that we have, so if we can share, so even videos or audios or everything, so we can do it. So now I wanted to show you a short film on the Museum of the History of Science. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the topic we were discussing before, but it was something that I was preparing. I didn't know about what kind of subject you wanted to discuss tonight. So let's see this short video. I'm using because otherwise, if you're listening, we have tried that if we're listening directly from my computer, the audio is not good at all. So now I'm...
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device has connected successfully.
Okay, now let's see this video. Can you hear it? Do you hear it?
No.
You don't?
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, I do. But
A little bit late, but yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I don't, unfortunately, I cannot open it completely. I mean, I have to do it just this dimension, because otherwise sometimes it doesn't work. So let's try to see this short. It lasts just 5 minutes.
Okay.
No, it stopped. See, it's stopping.
Mm-hmm. No.
Let me try it again. Okay.
Hello, I'm Amy. Welcome to the Museum of the History of Science. Instruments from some of the most important scientific breakthroughs of the modern era are here. The museum has an unrivaled collection of scientific artifacts, and there are incredible objects wherever you look. This device was used by the Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi to illustrate how radio waves work. Whenever he pushed a button, a bell would ring on the other side of the room. This was the first step towards the invention of the radio, which began the age of the mass media. Biologists in the 1930s and 40s used this apparatus to develop and test the revolutionary drug penicillin. It was wartime, so they had to be innovative and even improvised with biscuit tin. But despite the lack of proper equipment, this research led to the large-scale production of the world's first antibiotic. Since then, the drug has saved millions of lives. But neither this penicillin apparatus nor Marconi's radio wave device is the most popular item on display in the museum. The museum's most celebrated artifact is this small blackboard. It might not look like much, but it was used by the genius physicist Albert Einstein. He visited Oxford in 1931 and explained his theories on the age and size of the universe using this very blackboard. You can still read his equations today, if you can understand them. The Museum of the History of Science is home to one of the largest collections of scientific instruments in the world. It opened as a science museum in 1925, thanks to the donation of a huge collection of scientific instruments from this man, Louis Evans. Evans was a paper manufacturer, but always had a keen interest in science, even as a child. He didn't do well at school, and contemporaries reported that he could not spell, but liked blowing himself up with chemicals. As an adult, he travelled around the world, collecting artifacts from the world's mathematics, astronomy, and navigation. He was particularly famous for his outstanding collection of astrolabes. These are historical instruments that predict the positions of the sun, moon, and stars. They were used by philosophers, navigators, and astronomers for centuries. They were a central tool of science in ancient Greece and Rome, and had a huge influence on the Islamic Golden Age and the European Renaissance. Evans also collected sundials, ancient devices for telling the time, and quadrants, instruments used for measuring angles. Today, Evans's items are still central to the museum's exhibition, but over the last 90 years, the collection has grown. These two beautiful 18th century globes, for example, one showing a map of the world, the other showing a map of the stars, used to sit in the library of Oxford University's All Souls College. This ornate silver microscope belonged to King George III. This old astrolabe was Queen Elizabeth I's. And the famous British engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel owned this sextant, an instrument used to measure the angles between 2 points. There's an old clockwork universe showing the orbits of the solar system, and a variety of timepieces from ancient civilizations. Some people think that science is all about facts and figures, but the items on display here, whether it's a beautifully crafted 16th century astrolabe or a wartime biscuit tin, really bring science to life. It's a wonderful combination of science and history, and thanks to the passion of people like Lewis Evans, visitors can enjoy these fascinating objects for generations to come.
Okay, how was it?
The audio was a bit delayed, and also the video, like you couldn't really see it.
Okay, let's say now,
You know,
the time is almost finished here. So right now I'm going to close this room and immediately open another one where we are going to discuss about it. Okay, so let's wait. I send you a new link and you do exactly the same that she did before. Okay, see you in 1 minute. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.